Hello and welcome back. So this was initially not going to be its own video, but there has recently been a whole controversy on TikTok stemming from a creator on YouTube's video. Now, if you kind of frequent this space, you may already know about this, but the creator called Kallmekris posted a video a week ago or so. Basically, she read popular smutty books from BookTok and critiqued them. And it was humorous, and it was all in good fun as far as I saw. More on that later. So, this creator is not in the bookish space on any platform. She is mainly a true crime, kind of social commentary, occasionally like personal story time videos. She does not really, frequent this space. So, she probably just thought this would be a fun video for people who aren't readers or aren't on BookTok or just don't know what's going on kind of in that community. Now, she does have a platform of almost 12 million subscribers on YouTube. That's crazy, and that is definitely going to have some reach. So her video made people upset because she is doing a lot of critiquing on BookTok, and while she does say some things in a jokey, humorous manner, a lot of people on BookTok took it very personally.
Just a red-hot carnival of lip-biting, taboo fantasies and questionable covers. So strap in, or on, I'm sorry I had to make that joke, it was right there. And we're about to peek under the covers of spicy book talk.
So something that's really, got people kind of wondering what's going on. She initially posted this video with this thumbnail, and the title of the video was "Viral Smut Book Talk is so gross." Definitely clickbaity, especially for people that aren't BookTokers, that have they're just like, what is she talking about? Gotta know more. One day later, however, she changed the title to "These viral TikTok smut books are really gross." Same sentiment, but kind of brought it down a notch. And as she just kept getting more and more comments, she finally changed it to "BookTok is wild." So she definitely was feeling some repercussions from people that were not so pleased with what she had to say. Despite the fact that I have made pretty much a whole series that a lot of you watch of commenting on BookTok videos, I do like to think I do so in a mostly respectful way. I don't try to get down on specific creators, just on some, commenting on problems that are occurring in that space. And, this isn't about me. But it feels at this point, picking on BookTok for smut and all of the, things that a lot of people see as cringe, it's just low-hanging fruit at this point. Like, leave them alone. Like, people like what they like, and you don't have to respect it to just let them enjoy it. Now, in her video, she is reviewing 4 books that I guess are popular on BookTok. The first one is 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James. It was like a lot of people's intro to smut, kind of. I never read them, but I know, if you were of age at that time, of course you remember when those were incredibly popular. Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, and this is, I think, an age gap romance. Additionally, the girl is 19 years old, and she has a relationship with her boyfriend's dad, who is like 40 or something, 39, I don't know. So, a little more taboo, but not crazy. And then there's Credence by Penelope Douglas. This, I think, kind of is starting to creep into a category that a lot of people would find ick. I believe this is about a woman who goes to live with her step uncle and step cousins, and there's kind of a relationship happening there somehow. And the last one is called 24690 by A.A. Dark. Literally hadn't heard of this until I watched her video. Apparently this is the darkest, most vile, if you are one of those people, just absolutely, even for the dark romance readers, this one is a lot. From what I've seen, this one is about kind of like, I guess, a sex slave. And so that's just, that's some heavy, dark stuff. And I think even if you don't have triggers, you probably will by the end of this book. So she pokes fun at the BookTok community, particularly, of course, the smutty BookTok community. Nothing, she says, is too, harmful or, if you have a sense of humor about books and about what you read. I don't think that this video is going to offend you. You might chuckle at a few things, but I understand, you know, being sensitive because romance book talk is constantly being picked on. So my biggest question is, why read these books? Why should she be reading these books that she's going into knowing she's not gonna like? I understand she wanted to do this for like comedy and stuff, but it seems like she could have done a better job than these. Because for starters, I don't spend time on like smutty book talk, but I don't think that 50 Shades of Grey is anywhere over there, if like at all. It had its time, and it's well past that time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I just have never seen it in my time scrolling for content. The two Penelope Douglas books, I think those maybe would have been good choices, but it would have been nice if she had chosen books that actually she felt there was a possibility she might enjoy. Once again, I understand that wasn't the premise of her video. She was reading these books in order to make fun of them, but I don't know. Think she could have done a little something to help herself out. And as far as this 24690 book, that should have been probably off limits far as what she can make fun of. And so in her video, she goes on to state that anyone who reads these books needs to be in therapy.
So basically, in my humble opinion, anyone praising this book probably needs to schedule in some bi-weekly therapy appointments, if you catch my drift.
And so I understand, you know, why book talkers were upset by this. But I think that they might be taking out their frustration and anger with how, like, the world, society, I guess, views these books versus her herself. Because she does mention several times in this video, this is just my opinion, read whatever you want.
This is not meant to shame or offend anybody that enjoys these books. It's your life, not mine.
She never actually seems, other than what I just said, she's like, oh, you need therapy, haha. She does not like actually attack the people reading the books. It's the books themselves. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings on her video. And again, I'm not in this particular space of the book world, so my opinion doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But that's kind of like the way that I saw it. Now again, I know that I talk about book talk books too, and I poke fun at them. But in my mind, and I hope that that comes across to you all, I'm not trying to offend anyone or say anything other than you should read other stuff too. In addition, read what you want, but you know, we should all try to read a diverse collection of books of different genres, different authors, you know, that's all I ever am trying to say. Now, if you've been with me from the beginning, I did several years ago a series on my Instagram stories where I read all the Twilight books for the first time in my 30s. So I had never read these. I'd never even seen the movies. I don't really know how I escaped that craze. I know I was in college, but I just guess I was busy doing other stuff. And so I was giving my reaction as a, like, I think I was, I don't know, 33-year-old reading these books for the first time. And people over there thought it was hilarious. They really enjoyed it. And I actually did like combine them all into a YouTube video, which, I mean, is horrible quality, but I will still link it for you if you are interested. To me, that is a little bit different because that is, I think we can all look at and say, like, this was something we read as teenagers and it is just not good. And I think that even people that genuinely enjoy it, Allie, I'm looking at you, still can recognize that, like, it's kind of campy and kind of ridiculous. So I just wanted to say that. And again, same thing with like my disdain for Colleen Hoover books. I'm not shaming you for liking them. I just worry about the line in between reality and fiction and the fact that her books are marketed to young people so much. The biggest thing with any of these books is that if there is a super toxic relationship going on, that the reader can recognize that it's toxic and, you know, see it for what it is. And they can still, you know, enjoy it. Listen, we all have different things that we like and dislike. And while dark romance is never something that I am going to find myself drawn to, there's probably a lot of stuff I like that other people aren't going to be drawn to. And as long as you recognize what it is and you are not thinking this is a normal, healthy relationship, do what you want. I did save a few TikToks that I did want to insert here about the situation, just from people who are actually affected by this.
I'm sure by now a lot of people in the romance community, because we always seem to have something going on and someone complaining about something, have seen this Kallmekris video where she talks about some of like the more popular romance books and she just basically bashes them. She's changed not only the thumbnail and the title of it so many times, but she's also typed out this wonderful apology, which means absolutely nothing. And in that comment she basically says, I'm sorry that everybody got offended, but reading is subjective, which is fair, totally true. You don't have to like the books, but why did you pick all books that you knew that you wouldn't like? Within the romance community, those are some of the more like controversial books. We all know about Icebreaker. I actually enjoyed the story, but yes, there is a good amount of smut and it's just a fun college hockey romance. Or Birthday Girl, it's literally a taboo romance. That's what it is. It's to make people feel a little uncomfortable, but it's an ex-boyfriend's dad, and I think it's actually written super well. I loved this book. And then she goes on to talk about Credence. It's like, of course not everybody is going to like this book. It's a taboo romance with her and her step uncle and step cousins. Chris, darling, if you were actually wanting to talk about books and not just doing clickbait, then maybe you should have picked some books that you were actually interested in, that you actually would have enjoyed. As a proud member of the romance community who likes to read smut, I'm just over this take. Like, can we please move on?
I'm inclined to agree. Can we please move on? She did post a follow-up to that I will now show you.
I just have a couple more things to say to the people who are defending Chris in my comments regarding the whole BookTok drama. You can be the type of person that doesn't like to read smutty books, and that's totally fine, but you cannot come and attack an entire group of people about the books that they read and then just ignore that this is something that happens in every single industry. Like, you cannot have a problem with the whole step-cousin incident in Credence and totally be okay with Jaime and Cersei in Game of Thrones. Or be okay with the fact that Daenerys is 14 when she first gets with Drogo. Or be okay with the countless scenes of Joffrey doing wildly problematic things. And let's not forget Ramsay and his relationship with Sansa and all of the horrible things that he did. And yet, over 44 million people watch this show. If you're going to call what we read grape and corn and have the box set behind you in this video, can you just like not see the hypocrisy here? And I'm not trying to bash Game of Thrones at all. If you love that show, I'm very happy for you. It's just an easy comparison with different media types. And for the people saying that she apologized, I'm sorry if you took offense is not an apology. It's just not. You're not taking accountability. You can talk critically about books and share your opinion without bashing readers, and that's just like the whole problem with this. Like, come on.
So to me, her reaction is one of the more like extreme kind of reactions. I definitely don't think it was as big a deal as she seemed to think it is. But again, I'm not the one that's, the subject of the mockery here. So, I will have a different opinion, I guess. But as an outside, like, third party, I do think that people on BookTok have a, right to be upset. But I also think they have taken it to an extreme. It's not that big a deal as far as I can see. One last thing that I wanted to touch on before I finish this video is that she talks about how cartoon covers, particularly Icebreaker, which we've probably all seen the cover of by now, is marketed or is masquerading as a children's book.
But some women on TikTok have anointed this as the ultimate sports romance. But it's not just women that are saying this, it's children. Children are reading this book. But it doesn't surprise me, given that the cover looks as innocent as fucking Charlotte's Web. Like, I don't understand why or for what purpose this cover looks like that, because it does look like just like a Judy Blume book, but it's quite literally just straight up corn. It's corn.
So to me, this is just a really tired idea. Guys, we've had cartoon covers for years now. And if you're looking for books for your children in the romance section, that's a you problem. Sometimes stuff gets put down, in the wrong spot. It happens. But I think that it's the parent's job to make sure what their child is reading is appropriate. If your kid comes up to you at Target and says, hey, I found this book and it's Icebreaker, and, you look at the cover and say, okay, this looks fine. No. What you should be doing is getting your little phone out and Googling this book, because it does not take much to figure out that this is not an appropriate book for someone that's not an adult to be reading. I don't think that the cover of the book that's in the appropriate section of the bookstore is the problem here. That's like the first barrier against, children getting their hands on these. The second is, yes, do your own research. If you're concerned about it, Google it. This option is always there. Utilize it. Read the synopsis on the back. And I get that you might not be able to tell if it's like super, super spicy or not just from the back cover, but you can tell it's a book for adults. So, I don't like this argument. Sometimes the cartoon covers surprise me because, I'm reading a book and it's got this, like, cutesy little cover, and then all of a sudden there's some real rowdy stuff going on, but, like, I can handle that. I'm an adult. So, despite the fact that I don't seek it out, it's not going to kill me to read it. I think that adults just need to do a better job of, keeping their children from books they shouldn't be reading. Whether that is a parent, a librarian, etc., like, You just gotta do better. And you know what? A lot of kids are probably seeing just as bad, if not worse, on the internet all the time anyways. So to kind of sum up everything that I've said here, Kallmekris made a video reviewing some smutty books that are BookTok fan favorites, and the BookTok community got very upset about the way she reviewed them and the tone of her video. She then changed the name and thumbnail a whole bunch of times before privating the video so it can no longer be seen. People are now going back and forth, lots of discourse, and that's kind of what's going on. Really, everything she said for the most part was just a review, albeit a negative review, of books that she probably wasn't gonna ever like, and I think the BookTok community is just sick of being the subject of ridicule. Alright guys, so that is all I have for you today. I would love to know your take on this whole ordeal. Do you think BookTok is being too sensitive? Do you think that she was in the wrong for making this video to begin with? I want to know what you think. Everything will be linked down below if you want to, get your hands on the source material for all of this. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you would, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!